Hi first grade, it's Miss Martin here. Today we're going to be doing Chapter 9 Lesson 8 and Chapter 9 Lesson 9, but this one is just Chapter 9 Lesson 8. So there's a couple things you're going to need for this. First, you're going to need to make sure you have your Lesson 8 paper. You're going to need something to write with, and you're going to go ahead and need your triangle shapes, your square shapes, and your trapezoid shapes. So go ahead and get those, pause the video, and then hit play once you have it all. Okay, so once you have that, we're going to go ahead and first things first, we're going to put our name at the top of our paper. It's always important that we put our name at the name and number so that way Miss Martin knows that this is your paper. And today we're going to be learning about equal parts. So we're going to be seeing about how many parts it takes to make up a shape. So that's why you're going to need our shapes today. So our first shape, let's move Ziggy down a little bit so we can take a look. So the first shape that we're going to be looking at is our hexagon. So our hexagon is actually, you can make up a hexagon with putting your two trapezoids together. So if you put them together, you get a hexagon, just like that. See? So we need to, what they want us to calculate is to calculate how many equal parts. So for this lesson, when we see an equal part, or when they're asking for how many equal parts, what they're asking for is how many of the same shape does it take to make up another shape. So for example, our hexagon right here, we know that if we put our trapezoids together, it forms a hexagon. And we know that we need two trapezoid shapes, so two equal parts, to make our hexagon. So two trapezoids will equal a hexagon. And those are two equal parts. So we're going to go ahead and they wrote 2 on the line first. We're going to overline it. So 2 equal parts equals 2, or equals like our hexagon. Now for our triangles, I want us to go ahead and put them in where they belong. So go ahead and do that. Kind of fill in where the triangles go. Kind of place them in there where you think they belong. Okay, there we go. So now they want us to count how many equal parts. Remember, equal parts, when we see equal parts, that means that we know that we are talking about 4 or how many equal parts of the same thing. So here we put in triangles, and so what they want us to do is we need to count how many triangles did it take to make up that shape. So let's go ahead and count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took 4 equal parts, or 4 triangles, to make up this bigger triangle. So we're going to go ahead and put 4. And now we need to see how many square equal parts does it take to make this bigger square. So we're going to go ahead and count, fill it in. So fill it in with me. If Miss Martin is moving a little bit too fast for you, you can always pause the video and hit play when you're ready to go. There we go. So let's count how many, I'll wait a couple seconds, and then we'll count and see how many squares we did all together to equal our big square. Okay, let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 equal parts to make one big square. 4 equal square parts to make our big square. And that is all that we're trying to do today. All we're trying to do is identify how many equal parts it takes us to make a bigger shape. And remember, an equal part is the same shape. So an equal part, these two are equal parts because they are the same. They are not different. One's not bigger than the other. They are exactly the same. Okay, let's go ahead and flip it over. Okay, and we have some vocabulary words that we need to learn today. I saw that a couple of you forgot to keep your vocabulary word packet. That's okay because we do it over here on the videos, but that you might just have a little bit of a hard time doing our test and our reviews that we do before our test because they have vocabulary words on it, but that's okay. So today we are doing lesson 8. So we have a couple of vocabulary words that they need us to know. The first one is called a hole. 4 out of 4 parts shaded. So a whole means the entire amount or all of the parts. So that means that in this circle right here where it's shaded, there are no parts that are left empty. This means that everything is the same. It is filled in completely. So a whole, when you think of a whole, I want you to think of you have a ball that has all the air in it. There's no room for extra air. The air is completely filling the ball, so there's no more room. That's what a whole means, that it's completely filled. Equal parts is our second vocabulary word for today. We have 2 equal parts and 4 equal parts. So equal parts means parts of a whole that are the same size. So when you see equal parts, automatically I want you to think equal parts equals same size. Equal parts equals same size. So here, when they have 2 equal parts, these 2 rectangles that are on top of each other are the same exact size. They are the same thing. And then when you have 4 equal parts, all of these tiny little squares are exactly the same size, the same square. So when you think of equal parts, I want you to think same, the same parts, like the same thing. Okay, so on here on our see and show, a whole can be separated into equal parts. So if you have a ball, full of air, you can't really separate it into parts, but you can separate the circle into, like the ball, into parts. So a whole can be separated into equal parts or equal shares. Equal parts of the whole are the same size. So just like when we think of equal parts, we need to think of the same size. So here we have the square, and then they broke it up into 4 equal parts. So these 4 parts are all the same. So if you want to count each to make sure that it's 4, you can put like a little number in each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And they are all the same. Those are the same parts because they're the same size. So there are 4 equal parts. And today we're really going to be identifying what we're going to be working on is identifying how many equal parts there are of each shape. And then over here, let's count how many equal parts we have. We have 1 and 2. So there are 2 equal parts. Now I know this is a little bit confusing, and if you are still confused after we've done this introduction to this lesson, we are going to be doing a Zoom meeting every Tuesday and Wednesday till April 29th. So parents, if you're watching this, or just you in general, boys and girls, you can log on to the Zoom meeting, and I will help explain this a little bit better for you. So if we're still not understanding it, that's totally fine. Miss Martin will help you on our Zoom meeting. Okay, so now we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. But what they want us to do is, for number 1, they want us to write how many equal parts are in this shape. So we need to identify, tell Ziggy to wake up, he's a bit blurry, there you go. So now we need to identify how many equal parts there are. So let's count and see. We see that they have broken it in half, but we need to count and see how many equal parts there are. So let's count. We have 1 and 2. So there are how many equal parts? 2 equal parts. So we'll put 2 on the line. Okay, so for number 2, let's go ahead and count. They have a circle, and it looks like they split it in half twice. They split it down, and they split it across. So let's count and see how many equal parts there are. 1, 2, 3, and 4. How many equal parts are there? 4 equal parts. Okay, let's move this sheet back. There we go. Okay, so for number 3 and 4, it's a little bit different because now they want us to separate these shapes into equal parts. So boys and girls, this is a very, very important thing. I need you to make sure that you are paying attention to this. For these type of problems where you have to draw your line, you have to make sure it is equal parts. You have to make sure that both sides are the same. If they are not the same, then you might get it wrong because it has to be the same. So for number 3, I'm going to kind of outline this because it's kind of hard to see in the light. There we go. So I have my triangle, and they want me to separate it into 2 equal parts. So this is what I'm going to do. I can't split it that way because I can't split it long ways because then the top and the bottom are not equal. I can't split it diagonal because that won't be equal either. but you can split it straight down the middle, and that will give it 2 same equal parts. Okay, if you are not understanding this, I want you to go ahead and kind of re-watch it again. So I have a triangle, but I have to split it into 2 equal parts. So I drew a line straight down the middle, and it made me have 2 equal parts. Just like if you have a piece of paper, here, I'm going to show you an example real quick. So here's my blue little sticky note, and I need to separate this into 2 equal parts. I need to make it have each side have the same. So when you have a piece of paper like this, a way to make it have two, oh my goodness, blah, 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 Miss Martin cannot speak. To have 2 of the equal parts, you can just fold it in half. And that's what we did for our triangle. We essentially folded it in half so that each side has the same. They're both equal. You see how they're both equal? Now for number 4, they want us to split our piece of paper into 4 equal parts. So here's my shape. They want me to split that into 4 equal parts. So first we need to split it into 2 equal parts, and then we need to split those 2 parts into 2 parts. So we're gonna fold it in half, or we're gonna break it down the middle so we have 2 equal parts. Then after we have those 2 equal parts, we're gonna fold that in half, and it's gonna give us another 2 equal parts. So now I have 4 equal parts. Do you see that? Let's see. Just like that. So we're going to draw the same thing. We're going to draw a line straight down the middle, and then we're going to draw a line straight across. Just like that, to get 4 equal parts. I know this is a little bit confusing at first, so this is why if you are still confused about this, you can rewatch the video, or 2, you can join our Zoom meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at noon, and I will walk through this with you. Okay? So let's go ahead and flip over. They want you to, for 5, 6, 7, and 8, they want you to see how many equal parts there are. So they want you to label how many equal parts there are for each of those. Those ones are a little bit easier. Then down here, for number 9 and 10, they want you to put 4 equal parts and then 2 equal parts. So you have to be careful with those. And then for number 11, they just want you to circle the shape that shows which shape of these has equal parts. Okay? And then flip it all the way to the back, and you have number 12 and 13 to do. You do not have to do the hot problem. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. Okay? So again, if you're having issues with this, rewatch the video, and maybe it'll help you understand it again. You can rewatch the video as many times as you want. If you are still confused after that, then you can go ahead and join our Zoom meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I can go ahead and walk you through this, okay? So do this first. If you are confused, that's okay. We're going to work through it together. You do have lesson 9 after this, so make sure that you are doing that after this, and I will see you guys later on.